Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Always excited when we hear guys. Today we have a special topic. It's called dying alone. And I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why we came up with this topic today is because I noticed that so many people always say things like, I don't mind being alone. I don't mind dying alone. I would rather be single. So this is the question I'm asking. Do you really want to die alone? I'm asking this question to my people on my live today. Do you really want to die alone? And sometimes I do one-on-ones and I talk to a lot of females. And the women will say simply to me, oh, I've been through so much, but I'd rather be by myself. And I understand why they say that, because temporarily they say that. But naturally they know that eventually they're going to go run to another man because they know that they don't want to die alone. But it's a defense mechanism. I can understand that if you've been in a long-term relationship and now you just want some peace for a while, understandable. But sometimes you got to realize that saying things to the universe is what's going to allow you to actually be that. People say that I want to die alone. I don't mind being by myself. But I'm going to be honest with you. I just reached the threshold. My birthday was last month. And I reached the age where I realized that I don't want to die alone. You know, being single is cool for those that are younger. But I genuinely believe that a relationship is more about companionship than it is about love as you get older. Because think about this. One guy said to me, his woman said to him, she don't mind being alone. I said, because she pours all her energy into her child. But the moment her child grows up and her child goes on their own, she's going to realize that you didn't care about being alone because you were pouring your energy into your child. And eventually your child won't pour their energy back into you, because eventually your child will find someone and they're going to go on with their lives. More than likely get their own place, more than likely move out, more than likely get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they're going to completely forget about you. I'm dealing with my oldest son now. When he was younger, I was like always fun to him. Now that he's older, he spends more of his energy and time with his relationship. And that's naturally normal. So I always tell the women that either A, run behind single men and women, and the men that run behind single men, you tend to believe that you basically escaping your reality. Because eventually you're going to realize that dying alone is not the wave. We believe that dying alone is the wave. Being by yourself. Most people can't even afford to be alone. Y'all ain't hear that. Most people can't afford to be alone. I'm going to give you a scenario, right? You say that, but let me see how you live. Someone just said, I can. I want to see how you live. And let me see how you live. If I see how you live, then we can say, okay. Sometimes people be like, oh, I can pay all my own bills. But when you look at how they live, it's not that cool. It's not that good. The situation is not the ideal situation they would want. When I tell people, right, it's a difference of settling and actually living the lifestyle you want. People have been taught so long how to survive that they believe that surviving and struggling is actually winning. When survival and struggling is just only waiting for you to die. So again, when a person tell me they can pay their own bills, I like to see their situation. And then when I see their situation, I always ask them this. Is this the ideal situation that you dreamed a bit of being in? Is this the house that you planned on living in? Are you living your dream, or are you just surviving? So when you say you can pay your own bills, make sure we have the rest of that conversation added on. Are you living the life that you really want? I know some people that say stuff like, oh, a particular woman, I'm going to go into details of her. She said to me, oh, I don't need a man. And I said, you don't need a man because you've always had your mother. You've always had your mother. So even if you look at women that date men that don't have money, the reason why they're comfortable dating them because of the fact that their mother is offsetting the fact that the man is not bringing home the money. So when you date certain types of guys, of course the relationship worked because the man needs you. Men are more inclined to be loyal to you when they need you. So if you plan on being the provider for a man, then ladies, it is more feasible that you can find a man that's going to do everything you say because he needs you. But if you tell a woman that, they're going to get upset. They're going to get upset. Damn. They don't want to hear the truth. Right? Someone said the average woman, and men say that until they are older. Then it becomes a race for relationships. And the person that just actually wrote that, which is that's a fact. Just find a better job and stay there, still be alone. That's what you say. But if I go check a lot of people, let me say this, guys. We get advice from very miserable people. And they're not happy in their situation. So the only way to deal with their situation is by creating a coping mechanism. How do you cope with having a bad situation? You start telling yourself that it's not as bad as it is, or you start pointing the finger at someone else. See, I've noticed that there are women who will say, hey, these men don't want to take care of their kids, but they ain't gonna say, hey, I slept with a man that was a loser and he didn't take care of his kid because he's been a loser. They're not gonna say that to themselves. They're gonna say the complete opposite, giving them an excuse to continue to behave the way they've been behaving. And that's the problem. There is no accountability in our culture. I'm going to say this on record. Our culture is one of the most unaccountable cultures I've ever come across. When it comes to you being accountable for your decisions, you don't realize that there's consequences for every decision you make. So don't sleep around and then be mad that no one want to take you serious. Don't not get no education and wonder why you can't get a good job. We talking about being accountable. You have to live and die by your decisions. The average man and woman right now working together cannot pay for a comfortable situation. We're talking about working together. But it is easier to accomplish when two people are working together. But I listen to so many people say things like, I don't mind dying alone. Is that a defense mechanism or is that your truth? I've dated women that would say things like to me, I'd rather be by myself. They say that until they get by themselves. And then you know what happens? When they get by themselves, what they become? The worst person in the world to you. Because if you really are happy by yourself, why do every time we come across each other, it's always an issue? So that means you're truly not happy. Because if the woman was happy, she would not be giving me a hard time. If the woman was happy, she wouldn't be giving the man a hard time to see his child. I'm going to tell you a story. Good friend of mine. Dating a girl, they started having problems. He felt so uncomfortable to tell her the truth because he knew that she couldn't handle the truth. I'm gonna go on record and say this, and a lot of women are gonna get upset. I genuinely believe that most women would rather hear a lie than hear the truth. And you know how you know that? I feel like women lie to each other the most. And the reason why I say that is because when you listen to women, they'll be like, girl, you look good in that. And then they'll tell you behind the girl back, like, she crazy to be wearing that. But they won't say that to the girl face. That's how women are. And I'm going to say that sometimes when I tell my truth, some people get very offended. Somebody just wrote facts. Facts. We're telling the truth today. Women will tell each other everything they want to hear, opposed to the truth. And this is why we have such a sick culture. Every time you have a sick person, someone is out there willing to co-sign it. I told one of my family members the other day, she talked about she's about to leave her man. I said, girl, you 40-something years old. Going on a dating market at 40-something years old is not fire. It's not fire. No one is chasing you. No one is looking for you. I'm going to be honest with you. And the man you got is really a good man. But the sad part is you don't want to see the issues that he have and work on them, but yet and still he has to accept your issues. She said, what are my issues? I said, he told me straight up that you come to bed looking like you don't want to be entertained. And when you said that a man is visual, but yet and still you don't care about the fact that a man is visual. A man needs to see what he lusts over. Because the first time he met you, I bet you always made sure you were kept and looked good. But now that you have him, you're willing to come to the bed looking like grandma. And you think that man is still going to be enticed by you? Because a man is visual. God made us this way. Men don't choose to be visual. It's how we are. You meet the woman, she's willing to sleep with you in the car, and then you get with her, now she don't want to do anything. It's boring. It's dry. But if you tell him that, It's gonna be like, rather than saying, you know what, tell me what is on your mind so therefore we can fix it because we want to do a long-term relationship. I think the best way to have a long-term relationship is two people that's willing to communicate. Two people that's willing to communicate. And if you watch the people that's on my live, there's men and women on my live, and the women are saying that's facts, truth. Because these women are more logical. They're more logical people. They're able to hear the truth. That's why we can fix it. A man is a visual creature. If you don't care how you keep your appearance to a man, just know eventually he's gonna lose interest in you. So sometimes the man steps out, not because he don't love you, it's because he doesn't physically, he's not interested. And I didn't create the narrative, I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth, right? Someone said, how is he looking when he gets in bed? See, that's a defense. Because I'm trying to explain to you, everything is always the tit for tat mentality. And the tit for tat mentality will always go wrong. And I'm gonna tell you why it's gonna go wrong. In most cases, women don't care how a man looks, they care about how big his pockets is. I've never seen a man will date the biggest, unhealthiest looking woman he can date because of her pockets. A man will take a McDonald's worker that knows how to make his stroke his ego and make him feel good. A man will leave a woman who is literally a seven-figure earner because of the fact that he can go somewhere else and get respect. Because naturally, a man don't go where they're tolerated, they go where they're celebrated. But again, everything is about a competition, right? And this is why we lose. Rather than a woman learning how men think, they want men to think like them. Men and women aren't created to think the same. And the moment a woman and a man can identify that is the moment they can have a better situation. Most relationships are toxic because you have a woman and you have a man trying to make each other think the same. And the sad part is a man will never think like a woman and a woman will never think like a man because they're not made to think the same. Naturally, women are emotionally based creatures and naturally men are more logically based creatures. And if a man isn't logical, it's because he grew up with a mother that made him more feminine and therefore he tends to go off his emotions. But naturally, a man is logical. He thinks with logic. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. That's how a man thinks. But women, they get in their feelings and they want the world to accommodate their feelings. Ladies, that's not how the world operates. But when you look at the fact of the matter is, culturally, we're seeing people die alone. And the reason being is because they don't understand the value of companionship more than getting into a relationship caring about can he or can she do what I want them to do. I'm being honest with you, it's our culture, right? It's our culture that has this problem all the time. I look on social media and I'm so baffled by how many, and then read the comments, please read the comments. You can see the most ignorantest video and then right behind it, yup, girl, get him, girl, yup. You just told a woman to leave a man that she's been with 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. She has 2 kids, 3 kids by this man, and she believes that she is going to go on the market and find a better man who's going to accept her plus her 3 kids, and they're going to live happily ever after. It is proven that a man will jeopardize his happiness for his family. And it is proven that women will jeopardize their family for their own happiness. I didn't create the narrative, I just understand it. This is the world we live in. A woman is willing to walk away from her family because she'll say something simply as, I'm not happy. When you don't realize that you've been fed the cheese, you're supposed to make your own self happy. Happiness is a self thing. The man is supposed to add the IER already on you, already happy. It is not a man's job to make a woman happy. It is not a woman's job to make her man happy. He's supposed to be happy. And she's supposed to add the IER on a happy, giving him happier. This is the logic. And we don't have these conversations. And I would never look at my woman's job to make me happy. That is something I have to work on within self. But again, the conversations or the reasoning to the fact that we're failing. I've noticed that we want grandma and grandpa relationships behaving like Sexy Red in this whole new generation. We want grandma and grandpa relationships, but we out here behaving modern as hell. Come on. Come on. You believe that a man gonna take a woman serious who's half naked all over the social media? Come on. Like, damn. He's not gonna take that serious. The first picture you see as soon as you scroll on a girl's picture is a picture of her butt in some pants trying to show her butt or some tights. I'm like, yo, you only telling a man that you are only worthy of getting sex. When I tell a woman how a man thinks, a woman will get offended. Because again, women want men to think like men. Women, we don't think like y'all. She could be feeling herself and say, you know what, I'm feeling myself. I want to post a picture. She could not be looking for attention, but in most cases, most women that dress very provocative are definitely looking for attention. I remember one time, I went to an event, a concert. The girl was half naked. When I say half naked, I'm talking about sheer, bare see-through, everything. One of the guys grabbed her arm and was like, yo. She said, don't touch me. She said, these dudes out here so thirsty. I looked at her and I said, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. This is one of the girls I went with too, just so y'all know that. I went to the event with her. She's one of my friends. I said to her, you cannot go outside dressed like a whore and expect to be treated like a queen. You cannot go outside looking like a bum and expect people not to think that you're a bum. We're talking about logic, right? But if a man goes outside looking dusty, scruffy, rough, and rugged, people are going to assume automatically he's broke. But if a woman goes outside dressed provocative as hell, of course they're going to see her as a whore. But if you say that, you become the problem. It's like when a pack of lions see meat. That's what they see when they see the woman half naked. You're basically walking into a lion's den with a meat skirt on and wondering why these men are literally lusting over you. We're talking about logic. We're talking about logic. But it always get a problem if a man says something to a woman about a woman. But a woman can tell you every bit of how a man's supposed to be. And it's okay and it's received and it's respected. And that's the narrative that's been pushed that's wrong. Because the only way you have value when it comes to the dating market is who is willing to subscribe to you. Who's willing to sign up for you? Who's willing to be with you? That's your dating market value. Self-love is cool. You love yourself, that's a blessing. But when you talk about going into the dating market, now you have to know that you're auditioning for someone to want to take the part as your mate. If someone is not willing to audition and take the part as your mate, that means your value is not that hot. So in order to get your value up, that means you better do better with auditioning, because otherwise you're going to continue to get the same kind of men that you've been getting, and vice versa for you men. But if you tell them that, you become the problem. I've noticed in most cases that I'm the problem because I tell the truth. And for a while, when we started this podcast, I didn't want to tell the truth because I was so worried about the sensitive people getting on my podcast or listening and being upset at the truth. I'm watching Black culture literally die alone, and financially die alone. I'm gonna tell you something I want you to hear on my live. Black people own more houses in the 60s and the 70s than they do today. In 2024, Black people own less houses today than they did in the 60s and the 70s. And you want to know why? Because mommy and daddy worked together. It wasn't always about money, money, money. Who got this? Who got that? When you go look at everybody nowadays, there's a bunch of clones. Everyone wants to look like the women that aren't keeping men. Let me say that again. All of these women nowadays want to look like women who can't keep a man if you pay them. They have, like, we talking about logic. You're not trying to look at like the woman who's been married for 35, 40 years. You're trying to look like the woman who hasn't kept a man in 30 and 40 years. Let me say that again. You don't want to look like the woman who's been married for 30 and 40 years, but you want to look like the woman who hasn't been married for 30 and 40 years and expect to be married or dating for 30 and 40 years. Come on, man. Damn. Look, while the U.S. home ownership rate increased to 65.5% in 2021, the rate amongst blacks, Americans, lagged significantly. 14% has only increased 0.4% in the last 10 years and is nearly 29% points less than white Americans, which is at 72.7%. Y'all don't hear that, right? Representing the largest black and white home ownership rate gap in decades. That's what we're going through right now. But we sitting out here talking about I don't need a man, I don't need a woman. You want to get out that damn apartment, you do need a man. You want to get out your mama house, you do need a man. Man, you want to get out your mama house, you do need a woman. You want to get out your mama basement, man, you do need a woman. But this is the issue, right? But again, the person that just said, the deed is in my name. When you realize how rare the percentage is that individuals are owning homes, right? I just told you the stats, and I respect it, right? But again, this is how we have issues. Someone said, how do women look to keep a man? I don't understand that statement. How do women look to keep a man? I don't understand it. Write it again. Married people get treated wrong too. I respect that, Angel. She said, I do need a man. But again, write that statement again and I'll catch it. Tell me when to come up, Tyler. Right? But again, when you look at the narrative, right? We are literally losing wealth while we keep bragging about not needing each other. Our children are starting so far behind in the economical race. The economical race. When you look at a slave, right? Let's say a slave. Look at a black American slave. Watch this. During slave time, he or she knew the one thing they wanted was equal treatment, right? A job. And lastly, what did they want? Land or home ownership. That's what they wanted. And we've been free for years and we still don't want home ownership. There are three types of mentalities that really break black culture. And I'm going to say this on record. Three types of mentalities. I want you to catch this. You have the employee mentality, you have the tenant mentality, and you have the consumer mentality. See, the difference is our counterparts, which are more successful, have a mentality of a landlord's mentality, an employer's mentality, and lastly, a retailer's mentality. And we have the opposite mentality, thinking we're going to be successful. We're not successful because we think like unsuccessful people. And this is the narrative. And this is what we push as a culture and normalize to the point that we actually economically losing. We are worse off than we've ever been in decades. In decades. But let me guess. I don't want to die alone. I don't need a woman. I don't need a man. The stats ain't saying that. Statistics ain't saying that. Statistics say that we actually going behind. Statistics actually saying that two people working together buy more homes. Statistics actually say that married couples own more homes. That's what the statistics show. Married couples own more homes, right? This is the truth, right? And this is what I have to talk about. We have this mentality where we believe that I can do everything by myself. When you have a 30 and a 40 and a 50-year-old person still thinking like that, we have more years behind us than we have ahead of us. And we still believe that something is magically going to happen. We're getting closer and closer to our demise while still believing that economically we're going to be the greatest versions of ourselves by not doing absolutely nothing. We have a sick mentality. We have a sick mentality. This is a mentality that has been taught for generations to the point where, you had the single mother raising a single daughter. Now the single daughter going to become a single mother, ultimately raising a single daughter. Let me say that again. You have a single mother who raised a single daughter, who's now the mother who's going to raise a single daughter, and it's going to continue to be the same cycle. You had a son who didn't have a dad, who's going to raise a son who won't have a dad, or a daughter who won't have a dad, ultimately keeping the same vicious cycle going, and economically, and on top of it, building absolutely nothing but insecurity, abandonment issues, daddy issues, trauma, and mommy and daddy issues. That's all you're going to continue to see procreation of. And that's exactly what's happening. More and more people procreating sick children who are ultimately going to be every bit of equivalent to them. I had a woman tell me the other day, I don't need a man to raise my child. I don't need a man to raise my child. What she should be saying is this: you don't need a man to be in a relationship with you. But based on statistics, it definitely shows that women do need men to raise successful children. Look at this jail. Look at this jail statistics. Look at the children that run away from home. Look at the girls that are more promiscuous. Look at the sons who don't know how to be men. We complain about the men not being the men, but we don't realize that there were no men in their lives to show them how to be men. You have a woman who will literally move their child away from the father and think that makes her a good mother, because her inability to co-parent look like, let me get away, because you were worried about yourself more than your child. And it's sad when people think like that, because they think that they're good parents. Being a good parent is not being selfish. It's actually making the decision that's best for your child. I'll give you a story. I have a son, and I don't want to get into the details of his mom, but regardless of whatever his mother wasn't, I made sure by any means, do you call your mother? Did you text your mother? Did you check up on your mother? Your mother want to see you this weekend? I'll send you in an Uber to go see your mother. And we're not talking about no hop, skip, and a jump. We're talking about $50 there, $50 back. And I did it as much as I can do it until she didn't want the relationship anymore. Because I know how vital a child having or coming to the conclusion of their other parent. When you give a child a preconceived notion on who their parent is, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy, because they're gonna build something in their own head. Why are you keeping me away from my child, my mother? Why are you keeping me away from my dad? The world we live in today is a bunch of insecure people who are raising a bunch of insecure little people, and then they wonder why the little insecure people are insecure when the adults are insecure in themselves. Why do I say that? I got a couple that I know, and they decided that they can't work it out. And I tip my hat to them. And I'm gonna tell you why. The father said, Q, me and my wife been together for 22 years. We're not in love anymore. We don't respect each other no more. I don't see her intimately like that no more. She says she don't see me intimately like that no more. But in the midst of us doing this 22-year thing, we made something together that we're committed to raising, and I'm gonna make the best choice for it. I said, so what are you gonna do? He said, I'm gonna sleep in the guest room until my kid at least graduate high school, when they have their full mind developed with the immaturity and they don't rebel and start acting out. He said, when they go to college, then we'll make a decision. So I said, wow, you think you can do that? He said, yeah. He said, we're gonna set rules and boundaries. You don't bring no man here, I don't bring no woman here. We come in at respectful times, I'll come in at a respectful time. He set boundaries and rules. And you fast forward, the son ended up going on to Yale and graduating to be an MD. But imagine if daddy would have said, you know what? I'm gonna leave, to hell with you and your mother, right? Because everyone keeps screaming this child support thing. Child support, child support, child support. It's 17% of a check. And the way, I'm not gonna be funny, the way women spend money, child support ain't enough. Because last time I checked, I can show you statistics. Black women are the #1 retail consumer debt carriers in America. They're the #1 debt carriers in America. Black women. They live way beyond their means. They gotta have expensive things. In most cases, men do expensive things to make the woman happy. because they know that women are in competition with each other. When a woman does something, right, naturally, no, go look it up. Black women are number one. Don't throw out statistics if you ain't do your homework, because I'm a statistical junkie. Someone said black men too. Go do your homework. The number one deck holders is who? Black women. Number one. Number one deck carriers in America. And it's by far too. Google it. And it's not even close. They hold so much debt. And why they hold debt is because they're materialistically junkies, because of their insecurities. I need things to put around myself to make me feel here when I'm economically really here. That is a sick culture. That's a sick culture. And that's the truth. But I'm not trying to diss my women. I love my women. But sometimes when I come on and I talk about men, I'm the God of all gods. When I talk about women, I am the enemy. I'm the villain. You're talking crazy. This is blasphemy. But you don't want to hear anything about yourself. But we can't do that no more. Because I'm not anti-woman. I'm not anti-man. I'm telling the truth. And if a woman catches straight, that means the shoe fits for you to wear it. And usually, hit dogs holler. So if you're hollering, it's because you're the hit dog. It's getting a little too close. But they say, it's getting hot in here. That's why. But again, in order for us to raise the awareness of truth, we're going to have to ruffle some feathers. I got wholehearted, full-fledged videos, podcast episodes, flaming men. Flaming men. And that's when I'm the God. I'm the man. But I tell you this, and I'm going to go on record, most women don't like to hear anything about themselves. They don't want to hear anything about themselves. Nothing. I told you before, in most cases, the reason why most women think they're better in relationships than they are, because men are more strategic when it comes to choosing arguments. A man only argues when something really bothers them. Women nitpick over everything. In most cases, if you're honest, you would tell yourself the truth. I'm not trying to diss women, I'm just telling the truth. Somebody gonna be like, you always got something to say about us. Fix yourself. Work on yourself. Develop better skills, because I'm gonna tell you something. The man that you're sitting there complaining about every day, the moment you go in the market, you're gonna realize that another man is not gonna do half of the things he's done. You do not, in most cases, as we get older, get better and better and better, right? In most cases, the man that you're complaining about and you're talking crazy about, when you go in the market, you're gonna realize you're not gonna get the same value of man. There are a lot of women who really don't know that they have a good man, but they don't have something to compare him to because of the fact that they have a vision in their head of a man that they've never even met. Most women are dating this invisible man that they have never met. They think that man is out there waiting for them. And I'm going to tell the truth. They genuinely believe that there's someone out there perfect for them in their unperfect behaviors, in their imperfect ways. He's going to accept you. Babies and all. Damn. But again, I say this on record. I genuinely believe that more men will be more comfortable with a woman that put on weight when it's because of their child. I don't think most men are attracted to that. We're going to just tell the truth. But if I say it, people get offended, right? They get offended. Someone wrote, oh my God, that's true. Yes, it's true. Men are more strategic when it comes to complaining. If something is really bothering us, that's when we speak on it. Women complain about so many things, and the time you're spending complaining, you could be just fixing the situation. I genuinely believe that your man did not wake up this morning and said, I'm gonna leave that dish in the sink so I can hear Tasha's mouth today. I don't think that's what he thought. And if he did, I mean, you dating a weird dude. And it says, Vaughn, that you're sleeping with a weird dude. But again, we're gonna die alone if we don't realize that we have to learn how to fix our issues. I remember I was in a relationship with a girl. And anytime I would come to her and tell her anything I didn't like about her, the moment I would tell her something about herself, it would automatically be put on me. And I genuinely believe that for my existence on earth, from dealing with women, this has been such a normal occurrence that we don't see anything wrong with it. I genuinely believe that most women do not like to hear things about themselves. And anytime you speak on them, you become sassy, You a complainer, you're a nag, you male chauvinistic, you this masculine, I'm feeling toxic energy. What do you call it? Toxic, everything is toxic. But I'm like, wait, so I'm not allowed to express how I feel, right? But then in reality is, you expect me to accept everything about you. Someone said, us women have too higher standards that's not realistic. And I know you are 100% right. And that's a female talking like that. They do. They genuinely believe that the world is supposed to cater to them. But then I always look at them like, your daddy didn't even cater to you. Damn. Your father didn't even do these things. But you take someone who takes you the way you are, imperfect as hell, try to love you, try to build with you, and you still don't see that as a problem? She said, what? No, but you tell the truth. That's what I told you. They always take it as something is wrong when you tell the truth. Sister, I'm doing really good with my life. And again, I'm trying to help more people by raising the awareness of truth. But the person that talks like that is the person that's avoiding the ugliest version of themselves. That person that said that, I bet you they're scared to death to look in the mirror at themselves. I bet you they can't sit there in a 10-minute conversation, have someone tell them everything they don't like about themselves. I bet my life on that. The average person cannot sit there for 10 minutes and have everyone that's around them that say they love them, tell them what they don't like about them. I bet you that's gonna go left. And most people won't tell you the truth. You know why? Because they know that you cannot handle the truth. That's why people avoid talking to you. That's why you're not growing. That's why we're not doing better as a culture, because we spend more time lying to each other than anything. In most cases, I'm gonna go on record and say this. Watch this. Most women will tell their man all their best friend's business, right? Watch this, Tyler. Most women will tell their man all of their best friend's business. And these things they tell their man, they would never tell their best friend. They would never tell their best friend. To my man that's on live right now, let's be honest. Women tell you everything about their friends, but they will not tell their friends what they told you. So who the hell is fake? Who's fake? Fake is hell. Fake. There's no woman I could ever say that date me or have dated me can sit here and say, I sat down to talk about my best friends or my friend stuff. Never in life. That ain't none of her business. Very limited conversations about my friends. We don't talk about nothing that got to do with my friends. But now you sit down, the average man, and ask a man right now, do your woman tell you about her friend's business? Say, yup. And now would that girl go to her friend and tell them exactly what they told them? Nope, which make them very fake. That's called fake. It's called fake. It's called fake. And this is why so many women are having problems, because they aren't receptive of taking constructive criticism, because the people that are closer to them are more inclined to not say anything to them because they know they can't take constructive criticism. I know a person right now who have family members that say, I won't say nothing to the person because they know the person can't take it. They'll tell me that. I won't say nothing to her. Why? Because I just don't want to argue with her. She's going to always take everything defensive. But again, when you tell her the truth, she takes everything personal. It is so unattractive to be with someone that can't take constructive criticism, especially after a certain age. Can't take nothing, but willing to tell you everything about yourself, but can't take anything. Things that bother you, you have to stomach it, eat it, and walk away with like you don't feel it. But yet and still, you can tell me about myself, and I got to eat it. This is a sick world we live in, guys. This is why the world gonna die alone. You're gonna have a bunch of people dying alone, wishing they would have made better choices. I'll tell you a guy right now, he moved a girl, whole family into his house, bought a crib, everything, and the girl said he ain't never done a goddamn thing for me. Moved her into a better area, kill herself every goddamn day, feet bleeding, blistering, and in pain, and she had the nerve to look that man in his face and say, you don't do nothing for me. Now you tell me what's gonna happen after she leaves this guy. Another guy's gonna come in her life and do that again? Is she smoking crack before that happen again? Damn. Ladies, to look a man in his face knowing that he's done so much more. That's why I say we value different things. A man feels more like a man when he put his family in a better position. That's what a man does. So when you talk to certain women and they look at a man like, damn, you didn't put us in a better position, and you tell that man he did it, he know he did, you basically diss them. Because that's what a man sees as success. And that's what a woman don't understand. I don't see success as flying you out. I don't see success as eating at restaurants. I don't see success as buying you a bag. I see success as putting our family in a better situation where we don't have to worry about robberies, shootings, violence, and somebody getting hurt in the school district. It's A++. That's what men see as success. Real men. So don't compare me to the little Tyrone dude you dating that don't give a damn but want to live off your Section 8 and want to live at your house. Don't compare us to them guys, because we don't operate like them guys. But more girls will get Tyrones, and more girls will get that guy that want to live off of them, because they have a spirit where they cannot deal with a masculine man. But in order for a woman to understand how to deal with a masculine man, she had to be raised by a masculine man. If a woman wasn't raised by a masculine man, she start looking for a man that behaves more like his mama. Just the same way. Let me say that one more time. I don't think y'all heard that. That went over somebody's head. In most cases, when you have a woman who didn't grow up with a masculine man, she gets intimidated by very masculine men. Notice, more women who didn't grow up with a masculine man tend to want to fight the masculine man because she wants to be the masculine man. So when you take a woman who didn't grow up with a daddy, you're teaching her how to be submissive to a man, how to take constructive criticism from a man, how to behave like a wife. She don't know how. She never saw it. So when you try to tell her what you need as a wife, she gets offended, ultimately dying alone because she never wanted to learn how to be a wife to a man. This is the problem. Talking crazy to a man ain't no wife. Disrespecting your man ain't no wife. Kicking them when they're down is not a wife. There's a video I saw, right? And they say, you preaching. I know what I'm talking about. No disrespect. I do. Because I tell the truth. In most cases, every girl I've ever entertained that didn't have a father, they did not know how to take constructive criticism. Every single one of them. They can't take it. Because again, they've never had someone to take it from. And let's just say mommy didn't say anything either. That means that person grew up thinking they goddamn perfect. And that's a fact. But if you say this to them, you're the enemy. There are things in life, right? Something could be bothering you. And then they're like, cook. Let them cook. They'll read that, let them cook. I tell the truth. And again, the only person that's gonna get offended by what I'm saying is a woman that grew up with that situation. Rather than listening to it, right? Processing it and saying, you know what? You're right. In most cases, when a man didn't grow up with a father, he don't know how to be a man. He has to learn how. And if he don't go around men that are actually doing it, guess what? He'll never learn how to do it. So ultimately, he'll run from what he don't know because he didn't know it. Ultimately, continue to do the same things that he saw. If most men were around him, lived off of women, he is more inclined to live off a woman. The one thing a woman could never say about me is I never move up in her house, planning on staying up in there, talking about we make it home. I make my own goddamn home and move my family in my goddamn home. I never go live up in some woman's place and call that my home. That's a real man. But a woman that never had a man like that will never understand that. She'd rather move a man and lay him up in her bed, in her place, and call out a man. And when she get mad, she don't see him as a man. But she can't handle a masculine man because she never saw a masculine man. She can't handle that shit because of the fact that she never saw it. It was never in her home. Anytime that man speaks, it affects her spirit. Because you have to learn how to accept those things. You don't walk into a church first day and be comfortable. You have to learn how to what? Become comfortable in church. And it's the same thing in life. Everything you learn is based on the way you were developed and you grew up. If a person can't identify there are things that I learned completely wrong, they're going to continue to behave as such, thinking that they're perfect, ultimately having the same problem in every relationship they go into. The only way a super masculine woman can survive in a relationship is she has a very feminine man. Very feminine. And I can tell a woman had a feminine man when she tell me he done moved up in her house, he done borrowed her money. I had a girl tell me a man stole money from her before. You talking about you had a man? You had a little boy, and you was having sex with a little boy. Steal money from you? That's a little boy. And have the nerve to have respect for him more than a real man. She can't respect the masculine energy because she never had it, never saw it. It didn't exist in her life. And that's the same thing for me. It took years of me learning how to take these responsibilities on because I never had to do it. I didn't see it. Growing up with a single mother, right? You learn certain behaviors. If you notice, in most cases, most men that grow up with single mothers, you know what they are? They're very argumentative men. Ask yourself why? Because they learn how to be argumentative from who? Their mother. Their mother. But until a man identifies like, yo, this is wrong. I gotta learn how to fix this. I got issues from the way I was raised. I was raised wrong. So therefore, let me identify it. I identify and say, yo, this is wrong. Standing there going toe-to-toe with a woman is wrong. But guess what? You learned it from your mother by seeing her go to toe-to-toe with everybody. Everything was 0 to what? 100 with your mother. So everything with the man becomes 0 to 100 because you learned that from your mother. When a little boy sits with his dad and his dad says, listen, he say his piece and he get it moving, what do you think that little boy is more inclined to do, Tyler? Say his piece and get it moving. If he saw daddy, what do you think he gonna do? The same thing that daddy did. And that's the issues. When we had these conversations, a lot of people get offended. We live in a world right now where people would rather have a problem rather than solve it. You walking around with a whole issue that needs surgery, but you acting like you just need to put a Band-Aid on it. I can tell you right now, there are so many women that you can meet, and potentially they could be such great wives. But potentially they'll never be great wives because they feel like a real man is only good based on how much he's willing to accept from them. Same way. I'm a good man if I tolerate your joke, right? Go a little further. So you look at that narrative. We talk about men and women not having healthy situations, but how do you know what a healthy situation is when you never saw it? I asked a woman the other day, and she got mad. I said, I failed in my first marriage. And I'm on record saying it. I've said this on my podcast all the time. I failed in my first marriage. And the reason why I failed in my first marriage is because I went in my first marriage believing that I can leave anytime I want. I never went into my marriage thinking that this is it. This is the final destination. This is my last stop. I went into my marriage with a mentality like, same as a breakup with a relationship. I never looked at it as, yo, this is forever. And the reason being is because growing up with a single mother, I never saw that. So my mom very unconsciously said this to me a lot. I can be by myself. I don't need a man. I'm gonna do what I have to do. Hearing that over years and years and years and years, all you're doing is programming. And by being programmed, you believe that you don't need the same thing your mother used to say you don't need. But in reality, one day you wake up and realize that you were only lying to yourself. There is no old person right now sitting here can tell me to my face, and I'm gonna believe it, that I'm comfortable as hell and I'm happy being alone. I know for a fact that old person wish they had someone to come home and talk to. Because in most cases, a single mother or a single father, they're always in their children's business. Ask yourself why? Because they bored as hell. They bored as hell. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna die alone if we don't change this narrative. When you try to raise awareness of telling people truth, they don't like to hear it. I'm perfectly imperfect, right? I'm perfectly imperfect. I know I have issues. But again, I'm working on myself. And the reason why I'm working on myself because I realized that a lot of things were taught to me wrong. I could confidently say that I didn't have a lot of men around me showing me how to be a man. I never had it. What the men I had around me was men that showed me how to manipulate women, how to take advantage of people, how not to build a family. I didn't learn none of those things. But now that I'm gotten older and I'm genuinely stepping out of my comfort for something I never learned or never saw. When you look at my family, wholeheartedly, I can say there are not many men that's doing what I'm doing. Not many. But again, a person will see that and don't understand that the mental fight that you have every single day with going back to what you used to do and what you're trying to learn new. Try to learn a new language and see how hard it is to learn it. That is the same thing with taking on a new behavior pattern. It sounds so easy to do when a person is come from it. When a person don't, they tend to judge people that don't come from it, right? So you take a person right now, they'll get diagnosed with cancer. And they'll get diagnosed. The doctor will tell them, you have cancer. We can fix it in multiple ways, but you got to be willing to acknowledge that you have cancer. People will walk out of that doctor's office and say, I ain't got no damn cancer, I'm good. Continue to behave the same way to the magnitude of why they got like that. Let's say they smoked, right? Now you take a person who has issues, they get diagnosed with it. They run from it as if it never was said, ultimately continuing to behave the way they behaved until the day they die. And then what they say to themselves, ain't no way he or she could love me if they don't accept me for me. But I'm gonna tell you something on record. True love is not just about accepting you for you, it's about challenging you to be the best version of you. When a person understands love, they realize that I need to be challenged. I told a girl one time I was dating, I said, the reason why you can't respect me as a man is because every man you've dated always submitted to you. Every man you dated always needed you. Every man you ever dated, you paid for everything. Every man you dated moved into your place. And you finally meet someone that's not comfortable doing that. And it affects you mentally because you're used to being in control. Yeah, that man rushed home because it was your home he had to rush home to. Yeah, that man didn't talk back to you because he knew he would be put in the streets. Yeah, that man never challenged you because of the fact that he knew he needed you. So it's a different narrative when you date someone who don't need you. And guess what they do? Every day they wake up and they choose to want you. It's a big difference. When you know for a fact you can open the door for somebody and say, good luck. Have a great life. But that person, you know they have options, but they still choose you. That says volumes, but yet and still, we're going to normalize that thinking. Because it's sometimes when a woman say that she submitted, or not even submitted, she settled, you got to realize it takes two people to settle. That man settled too. Because after having sex, he could have got up and went on to the next woman. We both settled, right? They saying, look, my lady's on this thing like, you so right, you right. Listen, I don't come on this thing to create controversy and clickbait. I come on this thing, I tell the truth. And some people, right, they can't take it. See, I'm sure I've never married or divorced. But I asked this question to the person that said I was never married or married divorced. Do you come from married parents? It is more proven fact that people that come from broken homes, you know what they do? They don't mind creating broken homes. I hope you heard that. People that come from broken homes don't mind to create broken homes because you know what they're going to say? I can raise my daughter by myself because they think because they were raised by themselves, it will be the same level of success. And I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Single women, when it comes to parenting, have the worst statistics on earth. Look it up, it's not my opinion. You have the most incarcerated children. You're talking about single women. Single men have the success rate of two parents. Single fathers have the success rate of two parents. Look it up. Everything I'm telling you guys, check into it. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Single mothers have the highest success of homelessness, mental illness, poverty, low education levels, incarceration. Everything that I'm telling you right now is definitely the structure and the foundation of a single mother. I'm not sitting here shooting my single mothers. I'm saying if you have to do what you have to do, then you have no choice. You got to do what you got to do. But what I'm sitting here saying is, ladies, be more conscious of who you're having children with. Be more conscious. Because if you go look at all those statistics I just said to you, you'll see that single women are leading in every single one of those statistics. But if we had this conversation, oh, he's coming for single mothers. Is he coming for single mothers when I come from a single mother? And for many years, I was a single father. So I'm going to diss somebody. I come from both sides of the spectrum. I come from a single mother, and I was a single father. So, but I'm going to come for single mothers? It just don't make no sense. Know who I am before you assume, right? Right? Somebody said no, and they've been 39 years. And the sad part is, most people will never become married or get married because the way the world is designed today is teaching you that men and women not working together will ultimately lead to success. But the last time I checked, we are the bottom of the financial totem pole because we genuinely believe that we don't need each other. I told a guy the other day, I would rather work hard. See, here's a narrative, and I've noticed this. When you date a woman who always had help financially, she don't see the provider is the extreme necessity when it comes to parenting. When a father is willing to sacrifice himself so the mother can spend more time with her kids, because look at this narrative. You think right now, right? You think right now, if all of our bills were split down the middle, I'm asking the couples, all the way down the middle, you believe you would have more time to spend with your child? Or you would have to work more? Okay. What a man understands is this. A man, in most cases, aren't great nurturers. Men are great providers. So men realize, I'm going to kill myself, put us in a better situation, killing myself for the economics so therefore mommy can spend more time with the child being a great nurturer. So when the daughter looks up, yes, my dad worked hard. That's what she would be attracted to because that's what she saw. Yes, my mom was around me. So she would ultimately be the same thing because she saw mommy always around her. The way America is designed, it's something called a JOB, is just over broke. It is by design. If a man don't sacrifice himself, then the mother won't have time to be around her children, ultimately creating a dysfunctional child because they never felt love. When a child feels loved, nurtured, and successfully provided for, they become more successful. And you can look at the statistics across the board. It's over 89 percentile. It was 90%. That when the father was the provider and the mother stayed home and nurtured, the child became more successful. And that's just the reality. But we don't talk about, look, somebody said, say it again. It's the truth. When the father, look, somebody said, sadly, but true. I know what I'm talking about. The sad part is people don't open up books. They go off their mentality of what they think. And chances are, the mentality has stayed long for too long in the same box. We got to open our minds and understand that, man, when we go provide, we bust our behinds, and we put our family in better positions, and you leave our women around to nurture our children, the children will be more successful, right? So a lot of them, look, so I say, yes, you do know. This is women we're talking about. But again, I don't sit on this podcast to create clickbait and to fight with my ladies and my men. I come on here to raise awareness of truth. We cannot fix what we can't identify that there's something wrong. If you ignore a problem, right, the problem only gets worse, right? Where's that at? All right, someone said, my dad was a kind man. I love my mom, but she broke the home up respectfully, sad to say. In country, I'm going to be honest with you, there are a lot of women that believe that a man, right? Hope you hear this. A man will jeopardize their happiness to put their family in a better position. But a woman will jeopardize her family for her own happiness. I'll say this again. Men need to understand that this logic is facts. In most cases, women are loved by men unconditionally. Women love men with conditions. And if we don't accept the truth, we're not living in the reality. When a man can't provide, he becomes less of a man. A woman could wear a $3 Fashion Nova dress and still be looked at as a woman. But when a man can't provide, He's not looked at as a man. So when a man puts his finances first, he becomes, oh, all you care about is money. Yeah, because if I didn't, you wouldn't respect me. So therefore, I respect myself first by now allowing you to disrespect me by not caring about my financial situation first. So I'm going to always care about my financial situation first, right? It's just what it is. We got to raise the awareness of truth, guys. The more we ignore the realities of life, the more the realities of life are not going to become transparently changeable. We can only change what we can see. We have to be able to talk the truth. But I say this on record. If my men and women don't start working together and start having these conversations, you're going to see more and more people financially going down, right? And now the last thing is, not just financially going down, but also the family structures will continue to fail. Someone said, what? But again, in order to fix the problem, we got to raise their awareness of truth. And sometimes raising their awareness of truth, sometimes it'll make you very uncomfortable. Till next time, guys, don't let that go over your head.